was about the scariest time for me. On March 7th, 1965, I was about the 19th row from the front. I was my little section leader was named Jimmy Webb. He was from SCLC, and we all marched like in our groups. Whoever our group leader was normally who we marched with, and we got across the bridge, and normally when we are faced with someone saying we cannot go any further or whatever, and they're not arresting us, we would pray and turn around and regroup, go back to our church and regroup. And on that particular day, when they told us we were an illegal assembly and we could not go any further, we heard all of that from the state trooper. And it seemed like he said we had 3 minutes to disperse and go back to our church. And in the normal things, we would have kneeled to pray. And that's what Jimmy told us to do. So we were kneeling when I heard the pop, pop, and sound like gunshots. But it turned out to be the tear gas. And tear gas confuses you and disorients you, and we had never been confronted with anything like that before. I was on my knees in a kneeling position. When I felt somebody actually grabbing me from the back of my lapel, in the back of my collar, and they pulled the front of my lapel and they were dragging me backwards. Well, I bit the hand that was on the front of my lapel, and the next thing I heard was nigger, and then somebody hit me, and they hit me twice in my forehead. I ended up having to have 7 stitches across my right eye, and I still have the scar there now. I managed to get up, and I was running into the tear gas, into this cloud of tear gas, and this man was running behind me, hitting me. When I woke up again, I was at the foot of the bridge, and I was on a stretcher. They were putting me in the back of a hearse, either from Miller's Funeral Home or J.H. Williams and Sons Funeral Home. And people were still running back across the bridge. And the tear gas was kind of heavy. And I let them know that I wasn't dead, and I started running back across the bridge. When I got on the other side of the bridge, on the Water Avenue side, I saw my baby sister, Joanne, in this man's arms, and he had her, and she looked like she was dead. And he was taking her to this white car, and I thought my sister was dead. I ran to this car, and they told me my sister had fainted. I was hitting her in the face, trying to wake her up. And she looked at me, and she started screaming. Well, I thought someone was behind me, about to hit me or something. I didn't know what was happening. I grabbed my sister's hand, and I started running. My goal was to get back to the GWC Homes projects and to get back to Brown Chapel Church. When we got back to the projects, by then the state troopers, there were sheriff's deputies on horseback, there were Selma city policemen. They had surrounded Brown Chapel Church, and they were letting nobody in. So I ran up between the project's buildings. I was heading to First Baptist Church. I was so disoriented, did not know exactly what was happening. I had my sister's hand and I ran exactly 10 feet past my own back door. I'm sorry. I ran 10 feet past my own back door getting to First Baptist Church. When I got to First Baptist Church, they said that I was bleeding. I didn't notice the blood. I knew I was crying. I thought I was perspiring. They took me to Good Samaritan Hospital. I had the had been hit over my eye. I had a scar there that took 7 stitches. They had to shave the back of my head. I had to have 28 stitches in the back of my head. I still have a knot to this day from that. On March 9th was Turnaround Tuesday. Dr. King had asked clergymen and people from all over the world to come to Selma to let the nation know that you just couldn't attack helpless men, women, and children as we had been. And people came. It looked like I had never seen so many people in all of my life. And I had gotten so angry. I got angry with George Wallace because I was 14 years old. I had not done anything to anybody to be beaten like that. My parents hadn't done anything when they said all they wanted was the right to vote. I had met people during the months of January, February, and March of 1965 that actually called my father Mr. Blackmon. That made me feel that much proud of who I was and who he was. And I did not think it was fair. I did not think it was right. And I wanted to show George Wallace what he had done to me. And I wanted to let him know what he had created in me. And what he had created was a determination that I was going to be everything he feared in a black person. I was going to be educated, and if I wanted to be governor one day, I was going to be governor because I was going to prepare myself, and he was going to have to deal with me. And because I was a female, I was going to have children, and I was going to educate them. He was going to have to deal with them. And I begged my daddy to let me go from Selma to Montgomery when they said that we could go on March 17th, that Judge Johnson had signed that order, that we would be protected, that we could march. I begged my daddy to let me go, and he said I couldn't. He kept saying I couldn't. And I told him, I said, I'm going to go. And I meant I was going to go. I was going to run away. I was going to go to Montgomery because George Wallace had to see me. He had to. He had to see those bandages on my head. My father finally said I could go after Miss Boynton. And Miss Mary Lamar said, and Miss Marie Foster said that they would take care of me. So on March 21st, I walked across the bridge heading to Montgomery. And I don't think it was anybody that day any prouder, any taller than I